There are people that need to be released, and there are people that should not be released. I also believe that we have got to deal with mental health. We have nothing right now. And I think that it is really a shame that we allow people to be completely psychotic on our streets. They might be non-violent, but when you see people who are naked, who are defecating in the streets, when you see some of the encampments, that's obviously that is somebody that is mentally ill, and we do absolutely nothing. That's why I said in the beginning that we might be in a tipping point in our country where things have gotten so bad that we are forced to do something about mental illness. I'm sure many of you remember when we used to have the big institutions like Camarillo, and we thought it was horrible. And so we shut those institutions down, but we did nothing for the people. And it's a similar thing in terms of incarceration.
Pastor Perkins, this is what you and I have been discussing.
Some sentences were extreme, but you don't just throw people who have been incarcerated for a long time back in the community and expect everything to be okay.
So
This is January 19th. This is a Zoom meeting that I was in.
It's so, I mean,
the floor was open, and I was allowed to ask Congresswoman Bass the first question on homelessness tonight. It's a great meeting. Pastor Perkins, she just finished discussing what you and I have been talking about for the longest.
For these drug addicts.
January 19th, 2022,
so you're a
approximately 7:45 p.m.
What is being talked about? What is the solution to dealing with the mental illness problem? This is not something. This is something that's been, going on for years and years. You live in this.
Go to yeswecanworshipcenter.org. Yeswecanworshipcenter.org.
And you say, something's got to be done. Well, what is being done? What's being talked about? What's the solution?
So let me talk local and then I'll talk federal, because that's exactly why I was in the hospital last week. That's exactly why I'm trying to work with the governor's office right now so that we can open up 344 beds. Back in the 90s, we actually had an array of substance abuse programs throughout the county. I'm glad to say that in the Valley, Tarzana Treatment Center still exists, and they actually have a lot of facilities around. But we used to have a lot of drug treatment
I know someone who was in the Tarzana
program. You could go and stay in those programs for a year. They were supported by Medicaid. But you know what happened? Policies changed. We changed that system over to a managed care system so that now you get 30 days residential treatment. Now, what do you think somebody who's been on the street 4 and 5 years, strung out on drugs, who's decided they're ready to get sober, what are they going to do with 30 days? So I've been working with county officials that I worked with back in the days of Community Coalition, to see how we reform a substance abuse treatment network. Right now, there is nothing for folks. So those are two concrete things that I'm doing. Now, bad news is when you ask me what's happening on a federal level, not much. Not much. And I'm starting. Go ahead.
Nothing. So nothing's been done federal.
What I can tell you is being done is there's tons of great legislation in our Southern California delegation. Grace Napolitano, she heads up that work. We support her. She has introduced numerous bills. We passed them out of the House, and look what happens. Now, you see President Biden trying to get legislation passed and having difficulty with the Senate. So I'm proud to say that we've been able
Go
to
to yeswecanworshipcenter.org to volunteer to help the homeless and house the homeless and feed the hungry. Also go to heardhelpedandhealed.org to help those in prison. HEARDHELPEDANDHEALED.org. There's also a link on yeswecanworshipcenter.org to heardhelpedandhealed.org.